While the holidays bring families together, they also bring up baggage from the past, and that can lead to stress and arguments. Best-selling author Libby Gill knows a lot about family baggage and chronicles her own struggle in her new book, Traveling Hopefully. And Libby Gill, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So this is something almost everybody can relate to. We all have family baggage,
Right.
and I think your natural tendency is to blame your parents. But that's not your approach.
No, it's really not about assigning blame or pointing fingers. It's about taking responsibility. And the baggage can come from anywhere. It can come from family, your spouse, your boss, and sometimes it's just how you talk to yourself.
In your book, you get very personal, especially in talking about your relationship with your father.
Right.
And how you needed to resolve that before you could move on. Explain to people.
Right. Well, I'd gotten to this point in my life where I felt like what I was presenting to the outside world, a successful professional, had it all together, just didn't really match up with who I was on the inside. And it became really clear to me when I went to visit my dad in Florida. He was in the hospital, very ill, and I could tell that this would be the last time that I would spend with him. So I sat by his bedside, and my dad and I had been emotionally very strained, very distant, also physically. My dad was a psychiatrist, and he'd left my mother alone with 5 kids just a few months after my oldest brother died on Christmas morning.
Right.
And he then married a patient and moved to another country. So
That's a lot.
That was a lot, and it left me with this legacy of abandonment and feeling unworthy. And I got to this point where I just didn't want to own that baggage anymore. And I sat by him and had this one-sided conversation because he was on a respirator at that point, but I could feel him in the hospital.
That is so intense.
Holding hands, and I just told him everything I had sort of held back all of these years. And I could feel him squeezing my hand, and it was such a profound moment for me. It was like dropping 40 years of baggage. And I felt like I then had the freedom. I'd found that power and vulnerability that I could move forward.
I was going to say, very empowering, it sounds like.
And at that point, I left, I said my goodbyes, and then I decided this is it. It's now or never. And I worked my way down the corporate ladder. I started in my 40s, started my own business, published my first book. I lost 25 pounds, and now 5 years later I have a completely different life.
And what you've done with this book is try to share what you've learned with other people in 5 steps,
Right.
basically.
Right.
The first one is what you've done to basically go back and dissect your past, as you say, in order to direct your future.
Right. It's about looking backwards so that you can move forward. And I'm very practical, very pragmatic. I like a step-by-step approach. I've been able to teach this now to thousands of other people who've had really amazing results with it.
But to look back without blame.
Right,
too.
exactly. It's about, you can't change the events of your past, and you can't change the other people.
The next step, you say, is to basically trust your instincts and then act on them.
Right. It's about linking vision with external action. So you've got to put the two together. Just like when I decided I'm going to lose that weight, it's about having an image and then taking the action.
You also say you got to come up with a personal roadmap.
Yes.
What's that?
A roadmap is that step-by-step blueprint so that your steps, your action steps, baby steps sometimes, because big change is overwhelming, are measurable and specific.
They're leading to something.
They're leading to something that you have built-in accountability so that you know when you've done what you said you would do.
Next is recruit a support system. This is so important because loneliness can be so stifling to your success or what you're trying to accomplish.
Right, and it's such an obvious thing that we need a support team around us. But what I found when I went through all these changes was no one told me how to do it. So now I go across the country lecturing, and I just released a DVD that shows people exactly how you create customized support.
And we're out of time, but the last one is sort of self-explanatory. Keep moving toward what you want, which is keep on keeping on, baby.
Momentum, exactly. Keep going forward.
No matter what happens. Well, it's a good read. Libby Gill, it's good to have you here. And Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Same to you. And
the book is called, we should mention, Traveling Hopefully. I like that title as well. Good to have you. We'll be back in a moment with more of Today right after this.